I want to give a little instruction about the 10-minute meditation on the breathing. In the tradition of practicing 4 minutes and then 10 minutes, these are trainings that we use to help the person learn how to bring the mind back from distraction. The mind is easily distracted, as we know. Lots of chattering in the mind. And this chattering, we want to quiet it down. We should avoid the mistake of thinking that we're going to get it to be totally quiet. This takes quite a bit of practice to get to the point where the mind is totally quiet. In the Mahayana tradition, we talk about 9 stages of practice in order to attain halfway to the practice of deep concentration. So these 9 stages, called the 9 abiding minds, we start with the first one, which is called inward abiding. That's when a person realizes, oh, I need to practice. I can't solve all of the world's problems out there. I need to fix some of them here. Calm the mind down. The second, called continuous abiding. This is when a person establishes a regular practice where they're practicing a few times a day. Usually in the morning is good right after you brush your teeth. Sometime in the evening before you brush your teeth. That way, when you establish this practice, then either one of 2 things will happen. Either you will establish a very good practice or your teeth will fall out. So you practice 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. Best to do sitting up. This way the mind knows how to calm itself down. So the first practice is called observe, accept, let go. We've talked about that in the preliminary instruction. This one is called arising, abiding, changing, and ceasing. We add that on to the 4 minutes. Now, in some traditions, they talk about how when a person practices focusing on the breath, to keep the mind focused on the breath, they will count. The number 1 as they inhale, the number 2 as they exhale, and they do this all the way up to 10 and start again. This is an alternative practice. I find it to be helpful to divide each breath into the 4 parts: arising, abiding, changing, and ceasing. Inhale, a little pause at the top. Exhale, a little pause at the bottom. So each breath in this 4 parts slows the breathing down, diaphragmatic, just keeps the mind focused. When the mind wanders, we just come back to the practice. We notice this practice. This practice has been around for a long time. We know that it's been around at least since maybe 350 BCE. So quite a long time. It was practiced in the school of Buddhism called Sarvastivadin Buddhism. Another offshoot of this particular school was something that evolved into what's called Theravadan Buddhism, and they practice arising and ceasing, just the 2 parts. But I like the 4 parts, so I'll teach you the 4 parts, but if you like the rising and ceasing better, that's fine as well. The reason I like this is because every experience we have has a beginning, it sticks around for a while, it changes, and then it's over. Every experience, whether it's a big experience in a whole life or just a moment in the life, arising, abiding, changing, and ceasing. So I find that practicing this over again and again, it's helpful to understand impermanence. You can do it in English, arising, abiding, changing, and ceasing. If you don't like English, you can do it in Chinese. Sheng, Zhu, Yi, Mie. The characters are very beautiful in Chinese. The character for Sheng is a picture of a sprout coming out from the ground. It's a rising up. The character Zhu is a picture of a candle in a window. You're walking in the woods, you see a cabin, there's a little candle in the window. So, oh, somebody lives there. They abide there. We know it's occupied. Then changing, yi, there are two words in Chinese pronounced the same way, fourth tone, yi. One is the sun on top of the moon. This is a common character we see like in the Book of Changes, I Ching. But this E is not that E. This is an E of people, two people across the table from each other, and they're exchanging with each other. Maybe they're having an exchange of words or ideas or goods and services. They're always exchanging with each other. So this really could be translated as exchanging, although usually they call it changing. Sometimes I'll go outside and I will breathe next to a plant. And I said, would you like some carbon dioxide? And the plant always says, oh yes, of course. Would you like some oxygen in return? So we have a little exchange with each other. This is exchanging. Then the finally, mie. This is the ceasing. It's the same character as you would find in the logo for the Forest Service. How to put out a fire, ceasing. So in the middle, there's the character for fire. On one side, there's water. You pour water on the fire. Then there's a character that covers the fire. This is smothering the fire. And then there's a knife that cuts the fuel, the other brush from around the fire so it doesn't spread. This is the different ways of putting out a fire. So this is mie, cessation. The fire that we're putting out is the burning of our desires, our cravings. I want things to be my way. This is the practice. So when we do this 10-minute practice, we're always looking at arising, abiding, changing, and ceasing during the second part. And then the mind calms down. It's quiet. Whenever the mind wanders, we just say, oh, okay, just come back, just return. And then maybe over a period of time when things occur in the world, your mind gets calmer. It enters into that third stage of inward abiding, continuous abiding. Then you get to calm abiding. The mind gets quieter. Still some chatter, but it's a lot quieter. It's as if you've been to a concert. It's very loud. And then you leave before the concert's over. You still hear the music in the background, but it's much softer. The first stage of this calm abiding, you get there just suddenly. You don't know how you got there. It's random. You don't know how to get back. Second stage of calm abiding is you know how to get there consistently. You know how to do it. And the third stage, you know how to apply it. So even when difficulties arise, you can quiet the mind and not cause any difficulty. This takes some practice. We say 20 to 30 minutes a day for 3 to 4 months, then you can begin to experience some calm abiding, we hope. So I hope this information is helpful, and the research done on the calm abiding inspires you to practice regularly. And if you have any questions about it, you'll find a good teacher. They can explain some of these details to you. Thank you very much.